ownership of data in research, legal, ethical, and practical perspectives. Key principles of data ownership. Legal ownership often rests with institutions or funding bodies. Intellectual property, IP rights, linked to IP laws and agreements. Shared ownership, common in collaborative projects. Ethical responsibility, ensures data is used and shared responsibly. Stewardship, researchers often manage data on behalf of owners. Factors affecting data ownership. Part 1. Funding source. Publicly funded research data often belongs to funding agencies. Privately funded research data is typically owned by sponsors. Institutional policies. Universities and organizations may claim ownership of research data. Factors affecting data ownership. Part 2. Collaboration agreements. Ownership is defined in MOUs or contracts between parties. Data type, raw data, typically owned by institutions or funders. Processed data may involve researchers' ownership claims. 5. Legal and ethical frameworks. GDPR, HIPAA, and other regulations govern data handling. Challenges in data ownership. Ambiguity in agreements. Disputes arise from undefined ownership. Intellectual property conflicts. Overlapping claims create disputes. Open access versus proprietary data balancing. Public access with proprietary rights. Ethical considerations. Handling sensitive or personal data responsibly. Challenges in data ownership. Ambiguity in agreements. Disputes arise from undefined ownership. Intellectual property conflicts. Overlapping claims create disputes. Open access versus proprietary data balancing. Public access with proprietary rights. Ethical considerations. Handling sensitive or personal data responsibly. Ensure ethical compliance. Obtain proper consent for sensitive data. Implement data management plans. Define roles for data handling, sharing, and storage. Use licensing agreements. Specify usage rights. Ownership versus access rights. Ownership, legal right to control data. Access rights, permission to view, use, or modify data, often defined in agreements. Data sharing and public access. Open access mandates. Publicly funded research often requires data sharing. Data repositories, platforms like Zenodo and Dryad, facilitate ethical sharing. Dispute resolution in data ownership. Refer to original agreements. Review MOUs or contracts for clarification. Mediation by authorities, institutional or legal intervention for resolving disputes. Conclusion. Data ownership is shaped by legal, ethical, and institutional factors. Clear agreements, compliance with regulations, and ethical practices are essential to ensure responsible stewardship and use of research data.